American Family Radio, AFR, JJ and Ron in the morning.
Last week we had a nice visit with John G. Miller, author of the book QBQ, The Question Behind the Question, and he talked about a brand new book that John and his wife Karen have written, Parenting the QBQ Way, and we've asked John to rejoin us. Good morning, John.
Good morning, gentlemen. Nice to be back.
Hey, John, last week when you were on, we never asked you what's different about the revised, what's changed in the revision for QBQ?
This is the revised QBQ, The Question Behind the Question.
Sure. Well, fundamentally, we thought being an election year, it might be a good year to bring back the book that really speaks to personal accountability, because we're going to see a lot of finger-pointing this year. And yet the message is timeless. And so we didn't want to tinker with the message, but we did do a few things. We added an author's note introducing the book differently. We improved the writing throughout. I really believe anything can get better. And 10 years and 1 million copies later, we were happy to go in and rewrite it and make the writing clearer. We added a concept or two. We deleted a chapter. We added a chapter. But I think the most powerful value is we added about 12 FAQs at the back of the book so people could get answers to questions that they've been asking us for years, like, really, can I only change myself? And doesn't QBQ hurt teams because it speaks to the individual? And so we spoke to those questions, and questions like, well, what do I do if my manager won't use QBQ? And we spoke to those questions. So we really wanted to answer the questions we've been hearing from the marketplace for a decade.
Everyone should get this and read this. QBQ. It's the question behind the question. And, John, I'm glad that you've tweaked it a little bit with the revised version. Hey, now, you talked about a parenting book that you and your wife Karen have, Parenting the QBQ Way. Talk about that.
Oh, I'd be happy to. The book is really an extension of QBQ, but I'm going to tell you honestly, it goes beyond that. We've raised 7 kids. Well, we're almost done. We have kids ages 29 down to 13. 4 of them are birth children. 3 of them are adopted. So we've got a little experience in this area raising kids, and we really wanted to share some good, we think, wisdom about parenting, everything from using QBQ so we don't blame, play victim, and procrastinate as moms and dads, to simply recognizing the difference between strong parenting and weak parenting. We see, and I'm sure you do too at times, a lot of weak parenting out there where the child is in charge. And maybe we're old-fashioned, but we still believe mom and dad are in charge, and mom and dad lovingly need to take control of their homes, and lovingly need to teach, and lovingly do need to discipline. And we find a lot of younger parents don't know when to discipline, and they're afraid to discipline. They're afraid of their own children. They don't recognize the power of teaching and training. So all of this is in the book because we really wanted to say, wait a minute, how can I be a better mom? How can I be a better dad? I'm stressed. I'm frustrated. I'm upset. Life is not good right now in my home. I'm going to take control in a loving way and look in the mirror and say, what can I do to be different?
Wow. I'm already intrigued.
Yeah, that makes me want to go pick up a copy.
Well, your wife told me you need it.
Hey, John, some of the I'm glad to hear you saying this, and I'm glad you and Karen took the time to put this in the book. Some of the role models that I have as parents, they seem to be deliberate about this. They seem to be parenting on purpose. So I'm glad that you've covered this in your new book, Parenting the QBQ Way.
Well, that's a very astute comment, actually, because we say in the early part of the book, parenting is not a born skill. We are not born natural parents. We must learn the skill of parenting. Parenting is a learned skill. And so that speaks to your comment about parenting must be purposeful and deliberate. We can become better at being a mom or a dad.
John, I can assume that this book is much like QBQ. There are a lot of real-life examples.
There's a lot of stories. There's stories about people we know. There's a lot of pithy, P-I-T-H-Y, that's a good, powerful word, pithy, pungent, if you will, statements of wisdom. We think there's a lot of good one-liners that parents can take from the material and remember them and apply them. We think it's very practical. And just so you know, it's an ebook only, so you have to get it for your Kindle or your Nook or your iPad.
That was the question I was going to ask. How can our listeners get that book today?
Well, they can come to QBQ.com. On the parenting page, we talk about it and have links to all the retailers that carry the ebook, or they can go straight to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or iTunes.
Okay, great. John G. Miller, thank you very much for stopping by. We've got to have you back again sometime.
Anytime.
Thank you, John.